That's right. This is Toronto This Weekend. I am Ben Mulroney. Thank you for spending a part of your Saturday with us. And it's a day ending in Y, which means we're going to be talking about the housing affordability crisis. And apparently it may be cheaper to stay in a hotel for a month than rent an apartment in this city. Okay, so there's a hotel called the Toronto Don Valley Hotel and Suites, located just off the DVP at Eglinton East in North York. And it's offering rooms for $2,000, which is roughly $600 less than the average one-bedroom rent in Toronto in October. So for a month, you get this room for about $2,000. And this hotel manager is offering sort of a special where the room itself is simple. You get a bed, you get a bathroom, microwave, and a fridge. So you can't cook. There's no kitchen, but you have access to a gym. So that's free. Indoor and outdoor pools. That's nice. Not every apartment building has those. Free Wi-Fi. And most of the hotels I stay in, the Wi-Fi is pretty good. You got parking, cables all included. And 60 of his 350 rooms were set aside for this offer. It's interesting. Only 18 people have taken up on this offer, but that might speak to the fact that even $2,000 a month is too much for some people. But there's no credit checks. You just go in, you pay. I think you put down a $500 deposit and you got a room. Like it's a lot easier than applying to rent an apartment, and in a lot of cases cheaper. So, I mean, it is what it is. Another snapshot of how unaffordable life is in Toronto, where living in a hotel could actually be better on your pocketbook than renting. And here to talk more about this and more is Develle Morrison with Bosley Real Estate Limited. Good morning, Develle. What do you think of this story?
Morning. Thanks for having me. I think I love it. I mean, think about, in addition to all the other benefits you mentioned, you can pay with your credit card, so you'll get points. Hello.
Yeah.
And you'll get daily housekeeping.
That's true. Yeah.
And you get to order room service. It is a pretty good deal. I mean, you're right. $2,000 is still expensive, but there's a lot of perks that come with that.
And I guess if you are, it could be part of a larger plan for somebody who's looking for a place to live, in that this is a place for them to land temporarily, maybe live there for a month, and during that month, do the legwork to go find a more permanent solution. But it's not, it's not the most expensive thing I've ever heard. And it's, while it's not downtown, not everybody wants to live downtown. That's pretty well centrally located when you're that close to the DVP. And look, if the Eglinton Crosstown ever gets finished, that can take you clear across town as well. So this is not a bad idea.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's not a bad idea at all. And I think it's a win-win for both parties. That's not in a location that's going to get a lot of hotel traffic. Yeah. So if people want to live there permanently, why not? I think what would be cool if this was being offered in some of the downtown hotels. Then you'd see a game changer, right?
Yeah. Can you imagine just posting up at the Bisha?
Yeah, right. At that point, we all might start living in hotels too.
So let's move on to another one, because there's a great story about floating homes in Toronto and a condo that was a 110-year-old converted church that's on the market. There is, every now and then it's nice to look at the real estate stories in Toronto from a different angle and really just appreciate that there are quirky, beautiful, idiosyncratic, unique places to live in this city. And sometimes it's just worth talking about that for the sake of talking about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So those floating homes are over by the Scarborough Bluffs. And I have actually shown a couple of those floating homes, and they look like boats from the outside, but they're actually not boats. Like, you cannot go out in that house/boat in them. And quite frankly, given the housing situation we have in the city, I actually think they should build out more of those docks to allow more homes like that.
Really?
They are a cheaper way to live. Like, some of those places are for sale for $400,000.
Wow.
Some, of course, $900,000. But you're talking about, sure, it's a smaller bit of a space. It's a condo space. But what a cool way to live. And imagine the summers that you're going to have there. Sure, winter's going to be cold for sure.
Yeah.
But the summers down there, beautiful. You're going to be on your dock having a cocktail.
Yeah, I saw a show on Netflix a while ago that starred Jennifer Garner, and she lived in Seattle and lived on a boat, houseboat. I guess that's what you'd call it, like a floating house. And you're right, it didn't look like what you would expect a floating house to look like. It looked like a beautiful, modern,
Yes.
I mean, and it wasn't tiny, but it was cozy, right? It was cozy.
Yes.
You didn't have vaulted ceilings. You know, they were about 9 foot ceilings. And the views of Seattle were spectacular. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the only challenge with these is that getting bank financing might be a bit of a problem. So,
and why would that be?
well, the bank's not really good. A Schedule A bank, like your typical, BMO, Scotiabank, yada, 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 all those, they're not really going to want to finance these because to them, this is a bit of a risky thing. If you default, how are they going to sell that? So getting the mortgage on something like this would be difficult. So that's the only sticking point. But other than that, I think they're great spaces. They've got the kitchen.
Yeah.
They've got everything you need.
I mean, I've seen, like I said, I've seen small homes that float. I've never seen sort of multi home, like more than one home on a single floating, like a barge. Like I've never seen condos, for example. Is that something that exists?
I don't know. I haven't seen that.
No.
I know these are specifically the floating homes that are all docked. And yeah, like I said, I think it's awesome. I mean, imagine if you decided to sort of change your living style and this would be your summer home. And for the winter, you took off to a Florida or wherever
That's
it is,
right.
whatever sunny destination you want to live in. But yeah, I think this is great. Or maybe you spent the winter living in one of those hotels we just talked about.
Or you might want to rent a converted church. There's a Toronto condo, former church, 110 years old, on the market for 1.15 mil. I mean, that's a good number.
Well, here's the thing about those church conversions. I mean, those are not rentable, but that's something that you're going to own.
Yeah.
And some of them can be really amazingly done. What's cool is that they're not cookie cutter.
No.
They're very unique spaces, but they're also not cheap because everybody's like, ooh, this is so cool and different. I'm here. But, it's interesting because I've certainly shown quite a few of these places. And I had a client once who was part of the LGBTQ community who had been raised Catholic.
Yeah.
And he felt that his Catholic upbringing had left him a little traumatized. So that as much as he loved the condo in that building, he basically said, I can't live here. Like this is just bringing back too many memories.
So I actually know somebody, a gay couple who felt the exact opposite. They said, we're going to live here in this former church and we're going to live as husband and husband and and it's karmic retribution for what we feel was mistreatment by the church. So I guess it could go either way. Devel, hey, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have a wonderful Saturday.
Great. Thanks.
And also, Devel, if you see a kangaroo, just walk to the other side of the street.
Okay, will do.
Okay, take care. All right. We're going to be looking at a pretty big question from this week. Is Christmas racist? The answer was asked in Parliament this week, and we are going to see if there is an answer to this very serious question. I'm Ben Mulroney, and this is Toronto This Weekend.